Yes, so today,
Is another day,
another day, another dollar.
another dollar, euro, pound, yen, whatever your
Dollar.
denomination of choice is.
Yeah, good point. So what's
We're not doing any
Just-
forex trading today or anything like that. Talk about denomination.
Yeah, let's not get into more trade. I think we've kind of...
Still welcome to come on board and have a chat about crypto and all that. Nobody is
I don't
put their
think-
head above the parapet yet to
I don't-
have a chat.
I don't think anyone will. I don't think anyone wants to put their money where their mouth is. Not at the moment, anyway. As it's a rocky old ride out there. Especially looking at crypto, it is rocky out there. Let's not get into that.
But probably good. It's tied in well with what we want to talk about. It's all down to educating, isn't it? And we don't seem to get a lot of education about cryptocurrency. Never mind the other world of finance.
We don't get any education about any kind of money. But I don't know what education there would be out there for crypto at the moment, because anything you look at is trying to ram it down your mouth to buy it or sell it or trade in it or get your friends to. Is probably not a great example of educating people on money.
It's the total opposite to the normality of life. Of it's going well. It's increasing in value. I want to buy it. It's decreasing. I'm going to sell it. Decrease, buy, increase, sell. Shouldn't make a profit when it's going. Or make buy low, sell high, and that concept is gone.
Yeah, but that all comes down to trying to guess the market and time it, doesn't it? Which
you cannot do,
as we know, is impossible, as you'll see from our previous video. Yeah. So what we talk about today? We're going to talk about what we got coming up, aren't we? Talk about education.
Education. Dun dun dun. What's going to happen? What are we launching?
Okay, so we're launching next month in June.
Hard to believe that's nearly the set.
End of Q2.
End of half one. We're nearly halfway through the year.
Oh, jeez. But we will be launching our 2 new courses. One will be a mortgage course for first-time buyers, for you to learn everything you need to learn about buying your first house and how to avoid some of the pitfalls and the stresses involved in it. It's a combination of 30-odd years of experience between us.
And there's a lot of stress. And there's a lot of pitfalls.
Yeah, there is, but you can avoid a lot of them by getting the right kind of advice and actually starting off on the right foot. So that's why we put this course together, because I spend a lot of time speaking to people looking to buy their own house and everything, or first-time buyers, next-time buyers, remortgaging, actually educate them quite a bit on some of the things that they're not kind of aware of. And yeah, you can Google it, but you're never going to get the full story. You're going to get different sort of angles, and you speak to your mate down the pub, they're going to be exactly the same because they probably haven't bought or sold a property recently, but it can be stressful. So we put together a course for people looking to buy a house.
From start to finish.
From start to finish, yeah. So it's going to take you through every kind of step of things you need to be made aware of, dealing with estate agents, solicitors, getting the mortgage, what to look out for when you're buying a house. There'll be some handy downloadable guides in there as well. And to back that up, we're going to run a few webinars just to kind of promote it and everything.
It's not rocket science, but a bit like anything else in the world of finance. Finance seems to be, the more people seem to make it complicated to justify their fees or whatever it may be. And all you need to do is educate it in a structured format, A, B, C, D, E, and F, and do it in this order, and do these things, and make it as simple as possible and as easy, time-consuming wise, for people to understand. Because as you said, you can find it all on the internet, but if you start Googling one part, you're going to go down a rabbit hole, and it's going to give you this information and that information, which may not be exactly what you're looking for. And it could be, I know they're all kind of the same, but an American version or a European version. Here is UK based. Start doing this, and this. This is what you need to do. Just watch this, understand, and do. And it's 40 odd minutes, 50 minutes out of people's time to know exactly the format, what's going to happen, what pitfalls to avoid, and what you need to ask for and do in advance.
Yeah, and it's broken up into simple chapters as well. So it'll be each one we might want to dip in and out of if you're at a certain stage, but it'll take you through each stage from just finding the property right through to getting the mortgage and what you need to be looking for, and why we suggest you use a professional like ourselves to do that, because it's so easy to just kind of go to your own bank and potentially not get the best kind of rate you're going to get out there, but they may not be geared up to your situation because everyone's kind of different and different lenders have different sort of criteria. So we put it together to help educate people because, like I say, we've gone through the kind of hard work with clients. We understand what it's like. We bought houses ourselves and we still are buying and selling. We understand the problems, we understand the pains. So this is to try and kind of make life easier. So that's the first course we're going to be releasing.
I like the downloadable guides because they are very simple, but very, very good in terms of how they're structured. But you touched there on, we bought houses and all that. The purchasing of a property, I think, is a bit like getting a pain. No matter what you say, purchasing a property is always painful in some format. But if you're not aware of a pain and it's the first time you go through that pain, it's bloody horrendous. But if you're aware in advance of what can happen if you get a pain or something, and you're aware of it, the pain mightn't be as much, but you can understand that the pain is manageable, or you can get over it, and by doing this you can reduce the pain. So I don't know, for example, if you get a back pain out of the blue, it's going to be horrendous. But if you know you're getting a back pain as a result of doing something, but it's going to be painful, but if you do this type of exercise, it's going to be less painful, manageable. It's a bit like that with buying a first-time property almost. It is horrendous in a nice way. That's putting it positively, because there's so many plates that are spun. It's outside of your comfort zone. You've never done it before. You have no idea. And people, specifically maybe banks and stuff, are promising you the earth, moon, the stars. You need to make life as simple as possible and as less stressful as possible for you buying this and understanding the process.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. It's kind of trying to just take away some of the pains. If you can be a bit prepared for those pains, then at least you kind of go, well, actually, yeah, he did mention that was going to happen, and it did. Maybe it doesn't, but it brings everything down to like surveys and rates and so on and so forth. So it's a bit of an all-encompassing guide. And then we've got our second.
That's out in June.
That'll be out in June. Yep. And then we've got our second course launching next month as well.
That's going to be mid to end of June, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And that's going to be actually a much bigger kind of course and one for the kind of long term, the future. It's going to be about money management. It is purely going to be about the things you were never taught at school about money. The very simple things about good debt, bad debt, how to look at managing money, pay slip. It's going to take you through all different aspects of kind of money and what you really need to know in the big wide world about money. And this isn't just for people just kind of getting started out in life, but it can be for kind of anyone really trying to get ahead and understand.
Money management. That's somebody ringing. They want to go on the course already. They want to buy the course.
Yeah, I think it is.
Money management and money education isn't necessarily about somebody starting off in life. I know we're both very passionate about trying to get that into an educational format with school kids and stuff like that, which is superb, because the younger you start understanding the concept of money, spending, saving, what the words actually mean, the longer you are. But it can also be applicable to even, I'm going to say, business owners and stuff like that, because as much as, let's say, for example, business owners are absolutely superb at their own job and running the business and know the cost of everything down to a paperclip, sometimes they're guilty of not understanding or being aware of their let's say, their personal money and the circumstances for the future. And maybe that's a fear, because when you own the business, you're in control of everything. But when you sell it, you have all this money and things like that that you don't know what to do, you don't know who to trust. But even trying to get to that stage and understanding, as you said, good debt and bad debt and money management and personal finances, everybody seems to need, I don't know, is it education or re-education on money, because everyone has been educated on money, I think, but I think they've been educated wrongly or incorrectly or not the right way when it comes to money.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. We speak to a lot of clients, and they say, even they say like they're not particularly brilliant with it, and they need to try and educate their kids and their kids and their kids on that. But if you haven't got the skills in the first place to do it, so this is just going to be effectively a guide with downloads again, which you can go through step by step, and that's the idea of it. Work your way through it, and it'll be for a one-off fee for a lifetime access to it, and you can join our community as well of people to discuss things around kind of money, but it's going to give people that new insight to actually how they should really view and perceive money. And it's not going to be just teaching you to save, or there'll be a bit of that in there, but a lot of it is just teaching you some of the basics you never actually knew were there.
You touched on something there a moment ago of educating your children or something like that. I can't remember the phrase, but this practice makes perfect. Like, it was a sporting context it was in before. You have to practice correctly for it to be beneficial in the future. Bad practice just makes bad future. You're not going to be perfect in what you do. If you don't kick a ball correctly when you practice, you're not going to kick correctly in the game, if you're not going to hit a cricket bat correctly. And I think the same probably applies to the world of finance when you talked about it there. If you have an idea or a concept or an understanding of finance yourself and it's incorrect, and you teach your thoughts or what you think is correct to your kids, or you're not teaching them anything, you're just giving them the incorrect information that you already hold.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of stuff about new habit stacking, and just trying to change people's perception on money and educating people for good. And it's something we're going to work a lot with, and we're going to run some webinars on it. We're going to, like I say, we'll have a community sort of group which people can come along and discuss things. We will be sharing some free stuff in there as well, and some free downloads. And like I say, these courses, they're not going to be free, they're going to be paid for, because you've got to bear in mind 30 odd years worth of knowledge we're putting into these, and our time and effort. But they're going to be one-off manageable payments, and there'll be something for you to kind of revisit whenever you want and do it in your own time. There's going to be no kind of rush on it. And off the back of that, we'll offer some coaching as well. But there's a lot to come from that. So it's a bit of a watch this space, and we'll link in the bottom of the show notes to a bit more information about this coming up soon. But it's going to be under the brand of Mind and Money. And like I say, we're going to try and change the face of, I guess, money management and finances for the better.
Yeah. I think even a simple thing is, the first thing that springs to mind when you're talking about money and stuff like that is we've all can remember the past where if it was, a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle when you were very young, the first thing they were going to say is, they give you money, is you need to save that. And the concept of that's inbuilt, I think, in people now of saving. But saving is a short-term process, because saving is talking about a bank account, and we know bank accounts pay very, very little in terms of income with inflation as high as it is, meaning that the long-term benefit of that money is being eroded, so it's at risk. But people will talk to their kids probably the same way: save it, save it, save it. You need to know what you're going to do. If it's longer term planning, it's investing. If it's shorter term planning, it's saving. Saving is a bank account, 3 to 5 years. Longer term planning is investing. You don't save in yourself, you invest in yourself for the long term. So it's even the minute details of understanding what a word means so that you can associate it with the teaching you give to yourself or your children. And it's that finer detail that it comes to educating on money, because so many people are guilty of just throwing that word saving out, not understanding it. But they quite understand. I invest in myself. I learn. I invest in myself for the long term. You're never going to save in yourself for the long term. And little things like that we need to start educating people on, so that they can pass that down to further generations.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's coming up soon. So we're going to have some 2 courses coming out. We have some webinars running. We'll have a community group as well, which people can join and find out more about it. And as the year goes on, we'll release some more courses as well. We got some in the pipeline at the moment, and we'll release those as we know more about them. But they'll all be available on the Mind and Money platform to get involved. There'll be a membership site as well there, which will be coming soon as well. And that's where you can kind of join for a small monthly fee, where there'll be lots of kind of good information, some downloads,
tips,
tricks, discounts. There'll be a bit of everything on there. But it's all about kind of educating and just kind of, I would say, changing the face of finance in the UK.
You can't change everyone in a day, but you can start doing it slowly. And education on a gradual basis to hopefully ensure that people change mindsets and understanding of this vast world of money and finance.
Yeah, it's to try and dispel some of the myths you see on social media. And that's a lot of what these courses will do. They will be myth dispelling. So there's a lot of rubbish out there. I can say that because I know. But yeah, so watch this space. Lots to come.
Exciting times. Lots of content to be coming out. Really exciting for us because it's just constant giving back or feeding out all the 31 years of knowledge and experience that we have. But now is the time to start pumping it out to the masses for them to understand, to ensure that they don't make the wrong mistakes at times.
Exactly.
Superb.